This month we are talking about studying abroad. And maybe, as Mr. Yonazaki mentioned, maybe if you have an image of studying abroad, you might think about either studying in a school, ryugaku, or maybe studying a language, so gogaku. So today we'll be talking about both kinds of studying abroad for Japanese people. There are many reasons why people study abroad. Here are some of them. Maybe to enter university or college, you might go abroad. If you want to be able to speak English or to speak English better. If you want to become more global or international. And if you want to learn about foreign cultures. Well, here is a question. Which country has the most students studying abroad each year? For example, we have America, England, France, China, Japan. Which country sends the most students overseas to study? What do you think? Yeah, many different countries. So let's take a look at this. This is the top 3 countries in the world for sending students abroad. The number 1 country, this is in 2011, the number 1 country sent about 87,000 people. Number 2 country, 66,000. The number 1 country is, Jamie, China. Very good job. Good job, Jamie. So actually, China sends the most students abroad. Japan is number 2. Japan is number 2 in the world. Of course, the number of Chinese people is much more than Japan. So if you look at percentage, Japan sends a high percentage of students abroad. Also, if you look at this list, the top 3, China, Japan, and South Korea, very good for Korea, right? You will remember these countries score very high on the PISA test. We studied the PISA test and which countries have the best educational systems, best education, and all 3 of these score in the top 5 for PISA. Also, if you look at the top 9, all 9 of these countries are Asian countries. China, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Nepal are all Asian countries. Then we have the United States, more Asian countries, Bangladesh, Mongolia, Myanmar, Sri Lanka. India is coming in. No, it was a good guess. It was a very good guess. India, France, Philippines, Germany, England, and some others. So we can see, especially these 3 Asian countries send the most students abroad to study in other countries. So how long do students study abroad for? So for example, he studied in England for 3 months. So how long do you think most people study abroad for? A week, a month, a year? What do you think? How long do people study abroad? If you study abroad, if you go to America or Canada or England, if you study abroad, how long do you want to study? So let's take a look at this here. For Japanese students studying abroad, most students study abroad for 1 month. 1 month is 36%. 25% study abroad for 1 year. And for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, about 12% each. So 1 month is the most common amount of time the Japanese students study abroad for. When Japanese students study abroad, if it's for 3 months or less, most people make their own plans. They make their own plans on the internet. Maybe you go to a ryugaku company that helps you to study abroad. For 6 months or more is usually through your school. Maybe your high school has a special program, your university has a special program. So for those studying for a long time is usually through the school. So where do Japanese students usually study abroad? Japanese students usually go to what countries? What do you think? Well, let's take a look here. Here are some pictures. Do you know these countries? Okay. So which country is this? Anyone? Australia, with the jumping rats. Yep, okay. We have Australia. Which country is this? England, yep, exactly. So this of course is Sarah's country, and of course this is where Seamus is from. Right, so Seamus from Australia. Okay. How about this country? America. That's my country. Actually, this is my university team here. I put this slide in here. We just won the national championship in football, so I put that slide in. How about this country? This gets a little bit more challenging now. New Zealand, yeah, exactly. The key here is this bird here is called a kiwi. It's maybe national bird or national something of New Zealand. Beautiful nature here, a lot of sheep, and some kiwi. Okay. All right, how about this country? Canada, right? Hockey, ice hockey comes from Canada, right? Canadians love ice hockey. Beautiful nature. Pretty cold as well, so Canada is very popular. This one is a little bit more challenging. My UK representative is quick with the answer here. You have to, in America, when we play sports, we count Mississippi, like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. So you have to give everyone a 5-second head start, Sarah. Okay. Anyone? What country is this? Sarah? Ireland. Ireland, near England, very famous for very green scenery, very beautiful country, very green. Okay. So these are 6 of the traditional countries that Japanese students usually go to. You think about native English-speaking countries. Where do you want to study? Again, the US, England, Canada, Australia, Ireland, and New Zealand. These 6 are the traditional countries Japanese people study at. So, which country do you think is best? Which country do you think is best for studying abroad? Let me give you, we'll do a little pair work. We'll talk about this, but here's some help for you if you'd like. You can say, I think Australia is a good place to study abroad because of its sports or food, location. Anything is okay. American English, British English, beautiful nature, culture, sports, good value, good universities, location, convenience, sightseeing, food, anything is okay. Go!
Which country do you think is a good place to study?
Maybe it's a little bit cheaper than like America. I think America's quite expensive, and then England is expensive. Australia.
If I were Japanese, I think America is a good place to study because there's many good universities, Harvard and Princeton, many famous universities. Also maybe England is good too. Also America is very big, so it's really easy to travel in many places. You can go to Texas or New York, California.
If you're really into sports, then
Have you ever been to another country?
Which language are you speaking right now? You're part of the 8th floor team. We're the same team here.
Where in Philippines did you go?
That's sightseeing. They have like
Did you study?
No,
just
just
relaxing on the beach.
So which country?
Nice.
Okay. So we have many different countries that you can study abroad in that are very good. So let's look, where do Japanese people go to study abroad? And let's take a look in 2008. This is the most recent information. These are the countries where Japanese people went to study abroad. Actually, the most popular is still America. This surprised me. When I ask my students, where do you want to go? nobody says America. Everybody says Canada. So I don't know how this happened, but in 2008, most Japanese people went to America, was number 1. England was number 3. Very nice, okay? They speak English very well there, right? Okay. The surprise here is number 2, China. China is the number 2 country for Japanese people to go and study. Of course, they're studying Chinese, not English, right? But China is on the list, and Taiwan is also on the list. So maybe recently, Japanese people have been studying other languages, not English. Chinese, French, Korean, for example, German. So again, the top countries for Japanese people to go to: America, China, England, Australia, Germany, Taiwan, Canada, France, South Korea, and New Zealand are all still very popular. Okay. How many Japanese students study abroad each year? We showed before how many Japanese people study abroad each year, right? Let's take a look here. This is the history of Japanese people studying abroad starting in 1983. 1983. And then more and more people were studying abroad. And this goes up until right about here is when the bubble burst in the Japanese economy. So 1993, but it had increased a lot. Even after the bubble bursting, still more and more Japanese people were studying abroad, more and more, until the peak, which was 2004. In 2004, almost 83,000 Japanese people were studying abroad. The exact number, 82,945. But since 2004, the number has been going down, 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 down. Right? The last number here is 2009. In 2009, it was 59,923. This is the same information, just in a different chart here, showing again the peak, 82,945, and since then it's been going down and down. Again, this stops in 2009. If we look at 2010, this is the most recent information that we have. In 2010, the total was 58,000. So again, it's going down more and more recently. So 58,000 in 2010. And these are the countries where Japanese people went to study English. Again, we have number 1 was America. Here are the countries. These are the number of students here. And these are the number of students from the year before. So this is the change, right? So 2010, 21,290 students went to America. This was 3,552 students less than the year before. And we can see which countries Japanese students go to. As we look at this information, one thing we can notice is this. The traditional English-speaking countries that Japanese people go to, America, England, Australia, New Zealand, are getting fewer and fewer students. The number of students going to these countries is going down. The only traditional English country that is still, that's actually gaining in popularity is Canada. Canada is still very popular for studying abroad. Also, we can notice that Asian countries, South Korea, Taiwan, China, these numbers are all going up. So more and more Japanese students are studying Asian languages in Asian countries instead of English. As we look at America, again 21,290, these are Japanese students going to America. But of course, many, many different people go to America. So for people studying in America, these are some of the Asian countries here. We see here is Japan, and the number of Japanese people going to America from 2000 to 2011. So this number is going down, 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 down. Taiwan, basically about the same. but a little bit down. More and more Koreans are going to America. And you mentioned, Mrs. Hari-san, you mentioned India. So more and more Indian people are going to America. So it's actually becoming very, very popular. Of course, China here has the largest growth. A very, very large number of Chinese people are going to America. Of course, China's economy is getting better and better. And now Chinese people are coming to Japan for shopping. They're going to America for studying English. In China, it's a big status symbol. Everybody wants their children to go to America to study English. It's very, very important for them. So a large number of Chinese are going to America. There are other countries that Japanese people go to, and that's something we're going to talk about today. Other countries, including this one. Does anyone know which country this is?
Philippines.
The Philippines! Thank you, Seamus, thank you. This is the Philippines. Recently, many people have been going to the Philippines to study English. Why? Why go to the Philippines to study English?
Not as expensive, isn't it?
Less expensive, it's cheaper, that's very good. Why else? Why go to the Philippines to study English? Usually you think, oh, I want to study English, England, Australia, America. Philippines is a little bit of a strange choice here. This is part of the answer. As you can see, the Philippines is beautiful. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. Scuba diving, swimming, going there for vacation is nice. Many people who go there, you can study and kind of have a vacation. Go to the beach, study, relax. So that's one reason why people are going to the Philippines. Maybe there are some reasons why Japanese people don't go to the Philippines or don't think about the Philippines. But as we can see, those Japanese who go to the Philippines, would you go back again? 69% say yes, I would like to go back again. About 26% said they would like to study somewhere else, right? Maybe 5% don't want to study abroad again. But Japanese people who go to the Philippines are basically happy with it. But here are some things about in the Philippines. Most of the people studying English in the Philippines are not Japanese. Most of the people are actually Korean, from South Korea, right? In the Philippines, there are a large number of Korean people studying there. It's been very popular for a long time. As Japanese students, if you go to the Philippines to study, most of your classmates will be from Korea. A lot of the food is Korean food. If you stay with a homestay, it's all Korean food. Dormitories serve Korean food because so many, 90% of the students in the Philippines are from Korea. This is a newspaper, the Korean Times. In Japan, you have the newspaper, the Japan Times. In Korea, they have the Korean Times. And this shows study visas given to Koreans. These are study visas in the Philippines. So the number of Korean people going to the Philippines to study English from 2004 to 2008. And of course, it's been going up every single year. It's becoming more and more popular. For Japanese people not going to the Philippines, maybe there are different reasons. One, probably most Japanese people think that the Philippines is not an English-speaking country. Not an English-speaking country. So people don't think about the Philippines. But English is the second official language of the Philippines. In America, the official language is English only. In the Philippines, they have two official languages. Tagalog, the main language, and English is the second official language. So the Philippine tourist agency, the Philippine government, they like to mention that the Philippines is the third largest English-speaking country in the world. They're working very hard to get many students to come to the Philippines. So they mentioned it's the third largest English-speaking country in the world. Some Japanese maybe don't want to go to the Philippines because you have an image of it's very poor, maybe the infrastructure is not so good, which is true, it's very true, but as a result the cost of living is very low, and also the cost of studying in the Philippines is much, much lower than other countries. The main benefits to studying in the Philippines, actually the number one benefit is cheaper. It's much, much cheaper. It costs less money to study in the Philippines than other countries. It is closer to Japan also. It's a 5-hour flight, 5 hours from Tokyo to the Philippines. It's much easier to get a visa. If you want to study in America, it takes a lot of time. It's very hard to get the study visa for America. Philippines, very easy to get a study visa. And one of the benefits is English is spoken everywhere. You can go to the Philippines. If you go to a language school, probably those teachers are from England, Australia, America. They're English teachers just like Eikaiwa in Japan. So you have native English speakers. But after class, if you go into town, you can practice speaking English with many, many people because they do speak English everywhere. Here is a map, of course, with Japan in the center. If you go to Vancouver, it's 9 hours. Fiji is very popular with Japanese people. Many Japanese people go to Fiji to study. That's 9 hours. Sydney, 10 hours. London, 13 hours. East coast of the United States, maybe 14 hours, very, very far. But Manila is only 5 hours away. Much closer, so the ticket is much less expensive. It's much cheaper to fly as well. This shows the cost breakdown of studying in the Philippines for 1 month. Up top is the Japanese. Down below is English, same information, and how much it would cost to study. Here are the countries: United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, England, Ireland, Philippines. Tuition is the money you pay to the school, right? Which is here. Housing, for if you're staying in a dormitory or a homestay housing. Expenses for food, shopping, spending money while you're there, and the total amount that you would spend. So if you look here, the Philippines, especially tuition, is much lower, between 50,000, 70,000. United States, 120 to 140. So much cheaper tuition in the Philippines. Housing is also much cheaper, and the expenses, because the Philippines is a cheaper country, then your day-to-day money is much, much less. So as a result, if you study for 1 month, it's much, much cheaper than other countries. If you study for 3 months, here's some more information. Again, with England, America, Australia, Canada, Philippines. The red is the tuition, the money you pay to the school. Housing, for where you stay. Food, actually in the Philippines, usually housing and food is together. So it's just one price. You can stay there and receive free meals. Okay? And then also airfare. For staying for 3 months in the Philippines, again, it's much, much cheaper in the Philippines than in England or the United States. So this is the main reason why it's becoming very popular. Basically, if you want to study about British English culture or Australian culture or American culture, please go to those countries. That's the best thing to do. If you really just want to study English, for example, TOEIC test, business English, then for those people, then the Philippines can be very beneficial. It can be very good to study there. You can go study TOEIC every day, study, and get plus 150 points in 1 month, for example. If you want to stay for longer, it's much cheaper, so you can stay much longer in the Philippines. And also, again, it's very beautiful, so you can study and relax, beautiful beaches, nice water, and such. This is a big topic now in the world, studying English in the Philippines. So the BBC, which is the British broadcast company, they had a story about the Philippines. They mentioned the Philippines is the world's budget English teacher. Budget in this case means cheap. It is that if you want to study English, the Philippines is the cheapest place, the least expensive place to study English. This came out basically about 1 year ago, in November 2012. It mentioned some of the benefits, some of the good points about studying in the Philippines. It's about a third the price of the US or Canada, so sanbuno ichi, about 1/3 the price of the US or Canada. In the Philippines, actually they speak American English. The history of the Philippines, first Spain controlled the Philippines, so everybody also speaks Spanish. So first was Spain, then America controlled the Philippines, and then America released the Philippines. But everybody in the Philippines, they speak American English. And also, they have call centers. For example, in America, if you call your credit card company, you have a question. Or you call the airline company, you have a question. Probably you are not talking to an American on the phone. If you call with a question, then you're actually calling the Philippines or India. Because they have call centers here where many, many people answer the phones. It's much, much cheaper to outsource this. So in these call centers, they train the employees to sound American. They help them to have a very, very clear pronunciation so that Americans can understand what they're saying. So they do speak American English, and they do have a very clear accent. 4 years ago, 8,000 people, 8,000 students applied for a study visa. 4 years ago was 8,000. Last year was 24,000. So it's much, much more. Recently the number has been increasing very, very much. So a lot of people are going to the Philippines. Also, they have universities in the Philippines. This is the most famous university in the Philippines, De La Salle University in Manila. Basically, it's about 110 years old, and the benefit of this university, all of the classes are in English. All of the classes are in English. So if you go to this university for graduate school, daigakuin, or regular university, all of the classes are in English. Many Japanese people, many Chinese people go there. And one reason is it's 1/4 the price of universities in Canada, Australia, or New Zealand. It's much, much, much cheaper to study in the Philippines than in America, Canada, other countries. Here are 3 universities to give you an example of the price difference. This is my university, which is Furuda Shuritsu Daigaku. So it's a state university in America. So usually not so expensive, state university. For international students, 1 year would be $40,000. So about 4 million yen. So 400万円. That's about 4 million yen to study in Florida for 1 year. Harvard University is about 650,000 yen, basically. In the Philippines, it's much cheaper. Again, it's about 1/4 the price of the United States, much cheaper than Harvard as well. So that's the main benefit, is it's much cheaper. Of course, there are some difficulties for studying English in the Philippines. One is there is very heavy pollution. The air is not clean in the Philippines. Not everywhere in the Philippines, especially Manila. The capital city of Manila has very bad air. So if you want to choose a place to study in the Philippines, probably not Manila is a good idea. Somewhere farther away from Manila is good. Also, the main language in the Philippines is Tagalog. So they speak Tagalog and English. And Taglish, which is Tagalog plus English, Taglish. For example, in Singapore, they have Singapore English, Singlish, right? Sometimes in Japan and English, Japlish, for example. They have here Taglish, which it looks like English, but native English speakers might be surprised. Here's an example of Taglish here. Entrance only, do not enter. This is, for native speakers, would be a little bit confusing. Usually, you could say, entrance only, please enter. Or, do not enter, don't enter. Usually, you do not have both on the same sign. Entrance only, do not enter. This sign would be very strange for a native English speaker, but this is a sign in the Philippines. Another example of Taglish is this. This is a restaurant sign with a putlong. So if you're wondering what is a putlong, basically this would mean footlong, meaning a foot-long hot dog, a very long hot dog. But in the Philippines, P and F, they use both. For Philippine, Filipino, P and F, they change. So putlong actually means footlong. Okay. Hamburger, this is a J here. Usually in English we would use a G, hamburger, right? Cheeseburger would be cheeseburger. Ham and cheese would be ham and cheese. Ham and egg and cheese. Double patties. Egg sandwich would be an egg sandwich. So the Philippines will say that it's English. Oh, please come here. We're an English-speaking country. Please come enjoy our native English. But for actual native English speakers, some things are a little bit strange. So it's not perfect English. Not the same as in England, for example, or other countries. So there is some Taglish in the Philippines. So just to review, there are some good points and bad points, strong points, weak points for studying in the Philippines. Here are some of the pictures to remind you. Again, very, very affordable. It's not so expensive. Beautiful area here, close to Japan. They do have universities. Maybe the English is a little bit strange. So there are some good points and bad points about the Philippines. Your question today for writing your report, your question is, what do you think about studying English in the Philippines? What do you think? Is it a good idea? Bad idea? Do you want to study in the Philippines or not? What do you think about this?